She was shocked when she found out red delicious apples weren't the only variety out there. r/AskReddit by online comps rich people of Reddit who married someone significantly poorer. What surprised you about their previous way of life? My so said today I made rent, meaning today I've earned enough/accumulated enough to pay the rent. And I realized that this is a monthly accomplishment to someone with no fixed income/salary. Oh, I felt this in my soul. I've been there for sure. I've never not been there. Also the slow creeping dread when you hope you have enough for groceries as the card swipes. I fell in love with my uni best friend who really didn't have any money. When I got a job for my birthday, I decided to plan a holiday and offered to bring him along. It didn't even occur to me that this was his first ever holiday he'd ever taken. His family could never afford it growing up, and he'd never really thought to do it as an adult. Edit. Rip in barks. Thank you all for the love and support. I can answer this one. I did not grow up rich by any means, but I would say my family was upper middle class. My husband was born in Nicaragua and eventually moved to Texas, where his mother barely scraped by supporting him and his brother. Some of the things that surprised me: he never eats snacks. Ever. They didn't have food in their kitchen, and he would go hungry sometimes. He said once they had an egg in the kitchen, and he scrambled it and split it with his brother while his mom hungrily looked on. Now as an adult he doesn't understand snacking. If we eat a banana he thinks that is our next meal. ? He is very impressed with smaller things in life. He had one toy as a kid, truck, and now anything I get him, he thinks is the most amazing thing in the world. He saves everything. He is the hardest worker I know. He never wants to be where he was. He is the most grateful, optimistic person I know. We've been having some problems, family drama, trying to sell our house, work stuff, etc. He is not afflicted by any of it. He is cool as a cucumber. He always says, "Did you eat today? Do you have a place to sleep? Does someone love you? Then you are better than most people." I dearly love him. He makes me see the world in a different, better way. My husband grew up in a family where they were comfortable, but on a strict budget. 6 kids and mom on disability. My family had no budget. One day we were at the grocery store and he always insists on walking up and down every aisle. I finally lost it because he was taking so long and asked him why he did it. Growing up we could only spend $100 a week on groceries for all of us. I always had to put what I wanted back because we couldn't afford it. Now I can afford whatever I want, so I like to look at everything I could have. Took him 10 years to tell me this. I felt like a terrible person. Edit. Thanks for the silver kind homies. Edit #2. I've had a few people, very few, comment that $100 a week is a huge budget, and how is that a stretch? We live in a city with an extremely high cost of living. It's in the top 30 in the world. Getting a family of 4 fed for that much weekly would be a huge stretch here, and his family did an amazing job. My dad is a successful business owner now with several houses and multiple sources of income. But he grew up dirt poor when he had parents, and became even poorer when he was out on his own at 14. Think sleeping on the floor of a gas station men's room. To this day he will take a small handful of cereal out of his bowl before he pours milk in and put it back in the box, so he'll always have some cereal for later. Over 40 years later, and the pain and worry of growing up poor without luxuries like breakfast cereal still affect him. Growing up without money does shitty things to people. Sandwiches. When I made him a sandwich I only put one thin slice of meat in it. He couldn't believe that was how I had sandwiches growing up. My experience is from the opposite perspective. I was the poor one. It absolutely floored me how my wife acts when something broke, like a car, appliances, clothes, etc. As a child living below the poverty line, replacing a tire or other necessities was a disaster, requiring tricky trade-offs in the budget, or just plain acceptance of just how boned you were. When my wife's phone broke, I went into full panic mode, while she shrugged and said, "We can just a new one this afternoon." And then we did. Edit. Wow, I have received a lot of responses on this. By far my most upvoted comment. You guys made my day. Thank you. I have seen a few repair it comments. Like many of you, I'm also a Picasso/MacGyver of the duct tape and trash bag world. This skill helped me break into it. Sadly, the phone was beyond repair. Trust me, if I could have fixed it, I would have. And thank you for the silver. Last edit, y'all are giving me too many medals. I'm very flattered, but this is going to spoil me. When we moved in together, I found out that she was putting her share of the rent on her credit card, with no real plan for how to pay it off. Honestly, food insecurity. When we were first married, she would get visibly uneasy if the food in the house was running low. She never overate or anything, she was just always concerned about it. A lot of times when she was younger, she went hungry. On the humorous side though, she hates camping. Her answer is always the same. I camped because it was fun. She camped because they couldn't afford hotels. For me, my love of camping started from growing up poor. The only family vacations my single mom and brother and I had were family reunion events several states away. We also ate a lot better over a campfire than me making hamburger helper for my brother while my mom went to bed early. We also ate a lot better over a campfire than me making hamburger helper for my brother while my mom went to bed early. She worked hard to support us and battled with depression untreated for years until she could afford medication. Those trips were good for all of us. I'm from the poorer family, not super poor, but my in-laws have a stupid amount of money, so by comparison I'm very poor, but I think I can answer for her. We have 2 young kids, and my wife was shocked when I said we should look for clothes and toys for them at local flea markets and garage sales. The idea never occurred to her that we could save money by getting some gently used items. She had never even been to a garage sale in her life. She has grown to love them and now questions whether it is worth it to buy any item new or not before running to Amazon or a store. Her parents think it's disgusting we make our kids wear clothes that another child had before, but they don't pay my bills. Hamburger helper. She hates it because it would be her meal 5x a week growing up. I had never even seen HH before I went to college and love that stuff. 10 for $10 deals are awesome. My foster daughter was the same way with pasta. She ate so much of it before we got her that she hated it. The first meal I made for her on her first night with us, pasta. She didn't say a word and ate her dinner, but later I found out she didn't like pasta because of how much of it she had eaten before. I always took her grocery shopping so she could pick out stuff she liked. After that, she was shocked when she found out Red Delicious apples weren't the only variety out there. I think she overdosed on Honeycrisp apples when I first introduced them to her. The prevailing mindset in his community growing up that insurance was something only rich people had. Not health insurance, mind you. Well, not just health insurance. Auto insurance. Going without it was a way of life for most everyone he knew. In California it has been illegal to drive without auto insurance for I think my entire life. I grew up poor and my mom was constantly getting pulled over for expired tags and then not having insurance. I didn't marry this woman, but when we started dating, she always wanted to chill at my place, never hers, which was fine. But she gained 35 pounds in just like a few months of dating. She was 100 pounds when we started dating, not that it was a bad thing. 1. I'm a chubby man and 2. I was just glad she wasn't pregnant. Anyway, turns out her family couldn't afford dinner sometimes. So suddenly she had a place to eat every night and gorged herself. I dated a 1%er briefly. She was surprised I willingly went inside fast food restaurants. Edit. Since people are saying 1% is still a huge range in income, I just looked up her daddy pulls in $10,000, 000, a year. I'm from an upper middle class American family and my husband is from a poor Asian family. It is hard for me to wrap my head around how poor they really were when he was growing up. He told me about eating only rice with sugar for meals because they couldn't afford meat. They were probably living off less. That's $0.50 day for a family of 5 at times. I'm Southeast Asian as well. Rice, soy sauce, eggs and a little vegetables go a long way. Credit cards were avoided. For me growing up, we were encouraged to get a credit card in our name and use it as much as possible in order to build credit. There was always money to pay it off each month, so it made sense to 1. Build credit and 2. Collect airline miles or whatever the reward was back in the day. When we got together, she always used cash or a debit card. It took a long time to get her over her aversion/skepticism. We were fortunate to have 2 good paying jobs. It took a long time to get her over her aversion/skepticism. We were fortunate to have 2 good paying jobs. Though it also taught me a healthy appreciation for what it means to have a financial cushion. Please like and subscribe. I'm getting desperate. Comment on this video and hit the bell icon to let this cat cheer your day up. Thanks for watching, and it's all going to be fine.